alliance partners and sending a message that, if there is an administrative, some kind of manipulation on the part, as he alleges happened in 2020, that should not be allowed this time around.
Well, yes, Marya, this time around we are seeing, ever since the first phase of elections got over and then the second phase, that the RJD is extremely careful. A little bit of anything wrong happens somewhere, anywhere in the district, they are very quick to bring that to the notice of the Election Commission, to the notice of the district administration. And there were a couple of incidents. Some VVPATs were thrown here and there in few districts, and then some person who were not to be found, not supposed to be there near the strong room, if they are found there, then they raise these questions. So this time around, the RJD is extremely careful and very vigilant, and that is why we saw that today late evening there was a quick huddle between the Mahagathbandhan leaders that took place. Tejasvi Yadav, free from the Congress, Mukesh Sahni, some left leaders, they all joined in together for a quick chit-chat on what could be the strategy for tomorrow. And then Tejasvi Yadav addressed that important press conference where he in fact alerted and even warned the administration, the Election Commission, that this time around if something wrong happens and if the winning margin is extremely low, 50 votes, 100 votes, 200 votes, then that would indicate that there is something wrong, some manipulation that is happening, and this time around he will not let that happen. So the Tejasvi Yadav really keeping the Election Commission and the district administration also on their toes when he says that no kind of manipulation this time will be allowed, like it was, as he alleged, happened in 2020. Back to you, Marya.
Okay, stay with us, because if Tejasvi Yadav is sounding a warning to all poll officials, there is a message that is coming in also from the other side. There is a party which is happening at the BJP. On the BJP side, there is a special dinner which has been organized by the state BJP in Patna. That's where Amit Bhardwaj is reporting from. But a word again on what Tejasvi has said. Janta will respond if things go awry. RJD Neta and the Mahagathbandhan Chief Ministerial face saying that there should be fairness in the vote counting. Remember, they have been also guarding the strong rooms, ensuring that there is nothing fishy according to them. So this message again becomes important because, we have seen how the elections last time around, the counting went way till 1 a.m. in the morning, Rohit. That was also a fact of the last year's, 5 years ago counting.
Well, yes, that all happened in 2020, Marya, when, as you rightly pointed out, that the counting went till 1 a.m. in the morning, and we were also there, all present at the CM residence, and it was all because of the slow rate, at the slow pace, in fact, with which the counting was taking place, and that is why Tejasvi Yadav that time had alleged that the pace of counting had been slowed down by the district administration willfully in various districts to benefit the NDA candidates. So that is what in fact Tejasvi had alleged last time. But this time around also he says that the pace of counting should not be slowed at any cost. Otherwise that would send a wrong message. And as far as the mood in the two camps are concerned, as far as the Mahagathbandhan camp is concerned, yes, they are all in a huddle today, as I was mentioning. They were all formulating strategy as to what they have to do tomorrow, and if something wrong happens, then how they are going to respond. Because remember, Sunil Kumar Singh, one of the key leader of the RJD, has even warned that something like Nepal or Bangladesh could happen in Bihar if the results are not in favor of the RJD. And on the other hand, there is a dinner party that is going on in the BJP camp. Obviously, the mood in the BJP is jubilant. They are hopeful that they will be crossing that 150-160 mark and will be comfortably forming the government. So there are two kinds of mood that is prevailing. While the NDA is rejoicing with the dinner party, it's the Mahagathbandhan and Tejasvi Yadav extremely careful and vigilant at this moment. Back to you.
Right, Rohit. We'll keep coming back to you. tomorrow as you get us all the latest updates from ground zero in Patna. That's where all the action is going to be. First, let's listen in to what Tejasvi said, and then I'll go across to Rohit Bhardwaj, who's joining us from where the Amit Bhardwaj, who's joining us from where the big BJP party is happening in Patna.
हमारे कार्यकर्ता जो है लगातार मुस्तैदी के साथ काउंटिंग सेंटर पे मुस्तैद हैं, चौकन्ने हैं, और कहीं भी अगर प्रशासन के लोगों ने 2020 वाली गलती अगर वो करेंगे या कोई अपना लिमिट क्रॉस करेगा, गैर संवैधानिक काम करेगा, अन्याय करेगा, किसी के इशारे पे अगर कोई अधिकारी अगर काम करेंगे तो जनता एक पांव पे खड़ी है, करारा जवाब जो है जनता देगी.
Let's give you an update on what's happening on the other side. There is gulab jamun laddus being prepared at the BJP office in Patna. In fact, there was a special lunch which was organized as well. Dinner which has been organized for journalists by the BJP at a hotel in Patna. Let me bring in Amit Bhardwaj for the latest. So what's the preparation on the side of the NDA?
Well, Marya, the energy level seems to be super confident as far as the NDA group is confirmed. In fact, several of the BJP leaders and the NDA leaders are already claiming that they are not only going to win Bihar, but the victory is going to be a historic one, a very strong one. And in fact, if you compare it with the energy level in the JDU, or for instance, with the BJP, even a party like LJP of Chirag Paswan is very confident, and the senior leaders within the NDA are saying that we are going to, in fact, ask one of the senior leaders of the NDA, what's the number that you're looking at? He asked me, what's your 140. He said, no, we are going to be around 150. So that's the number that they are looking at. And that is why the energy level seems to be really pumped up within the NDA camp at this point in time. And they are confident about the victory. So I believe that in 12 hours from now, the picture will be pretty clear as to whether it is the NDA which needs to be, will continue to be happy tomorrow, or Mahagathbandhan camp will have some more energy rather than, their apprehensions about the issues that they are raising. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Amitabh Tiwari, founder of Vote Vibe, is joining us. We have Sajjan Kumar, political analyst. Amitabh Tiwari, what will you be watching out for tomorrow, even as both the sides is getting battle ready, or should I say, ready for the counting day, which is the big day?
I think we need to watch the performance of the weak links amongst both the alliances. So we need to see the performance of the Congress party on the 61 seats it is contesting, how many it is actually winning, because the strike rate of Congress is going to be very, very important for Mahagathbandhan. Conversely, we will have to look at the strike rate of LJP, HUM and RLM, which are also contesting 40 seats under the NDA umbrella. Secondly is those 83 seats where the victory margin was less than equal to 5%, or those 52 seats where it was less than 5,000 votes. Which way does the mandate go this time, and how is the Suraaj party performing in those 52, or let's say those 83 seats? Also, we have to see that if the mandate is fairly one-sided like in Madhya Pradesh or Maharashtra, we will have to be prepared for Mahila Rozgar Yojana or a Ladli Bahin type of scheme in all the state elections which are going to happen in the next 4-year cycle before the Lok Sabha elections. So that can become a recipe for success for all the political parties going into elections.
Okay. What about you, Sajjan? I mean, if it is about Nitish Kumar's return, as most pollsters, in fact, I would say all pollsters have predicted. Of course, Amitabh Tiwari's Vote Vibe and Access My India is talking about a margin of error, I would say, in that vote share of 43% and 41%. Margin of error is plus minus 3%, but still, it's giving a convincing victory for Nitish Kumar. I mean, a chief minister who has been in power for 20 years, if he indeed returns, then it will be a different kind of a phenomenon.
Exactly, Maria. And more than the direction, I'd be looking the intensity of the victory, whether it's really an endorsement, a farewell, as you called it, a gratitude vote for Nitish Kumar or not. This would be the first thing I would be looking into, because even with 2 to 4% edge, as is being projected, the conversion in seats in Bihar is always tricky, right? So that is why one of the endorsement that we are expecting, our insight from the ground, whether they are being reflected in the actual results or not. Two, very crucial would be to see whose Hanuman Chirag Paswan this time would be. Would he be playing the Hanuman for BJP in Bihar or Nitish Kumar in Bihar? That's a very crucial thing, right? We have to see that, like he was the one who sabotaged Nitish Kumar, this time, will he be playing, though he claims to be the Hanuman of Modi ji, but will he in reality be playing the role of Hanuman for Nitish Kumar or not? That is another factor. And within NDA, what is going to be the internal equation between JDU and between BJP? Because mind it, we all have been talking, and at this juncture, we are more into numbers, that Bihar is more about what is going to happen post-election, right? Rather than what is happening in the election. So that is why the internal equations, power equations within the JDU is going to be important. And three, conventional wisdom suggests that if you have one anchor, they carry the households along. But this time we are witnessing, as Amitav Tiwari is also getting the insight from his own study and other, that we have two anchors. One is the Mahila and other is the Yuva, and they are looking into two different directions, right? So that is why I would be looking with the kind of mandate that we are right now into the penultimate stage. Tomorrow would be the ultimate one. Ultimately, whether Mahila and Yuva would be at crossroads or they would be looking in the same direction, right, with certain differing degrees.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
fact, what the research, or should I say, the projection of Access My India is, and I'll ask the producer to put that on our television screens. It appears certainly that there is the 2%, which is that in that bracket of 18 to 25. There's not much of a traction. I mean, the gap is not much. So even when we say that Yuva is moving towards one side, may not be the correct assessment, because their impact is less. So their share in the overall picture is much less. Women tend to still dominate over the Yuva of Bihar, Rajat Sethi. So, you know, the Yuva of Bihar, even the unemployed youth may be getting enamored by Tejasvi Yadav, may have got his proposal of 2.5 crore government jobs. But the larger picture is, that is the Mahila, which is the dominant vote, which will be the striking rate. If it actually, any side gets it right, it will be about the women of Bihar.
See, this is the reason why in the data, you're seeing NDA being given 2% higher. In this, MY thing, this Mahila Yuva thing, Mahila has a greater weight. There is no two doubts about it.
Yeah.
Right? And because of this greater weight to Mahila, just because of the sheer numbers, that women voters are more. This is the precise reason why even Access My India has given 43% to NDA and 41% to Mahagathbandhan. And what happens is this 2% spillover across the board is going to result in, if not an extremely sweeping majority for the NDA, but just a silent majority for the NDA. So this election was a boring election, and the outcome might as well just be a boring outcome. Is what I foresee.
Okay,
and doing a very detailed analysis, Marya, what happens is that, and this is at least my 15th election analysis that I'm doing at a relatively young age, unlike Rajdeep. But I can tell you, we try to hyperventilate over exit polls, and then tomorrow you have to withdraw every line that you have said, because people tend to copy paste what you have said, around the exit poll analysis and on the results day analysis. Now we are beating ourselves around, Yuva and Mahila dichotomy.
Achha.
Tomorrow, this dichotomy might not even exist. So who knows? So again, exit polls should be seen as largely as a trend line, but don't overanalyze it to, to an extent where we become trolls tomorrow.
Okay,
That's my
okay.
limited point.
You don't want to be
Because,
trolled tomorrow, and I agree with
people
you.
will take
Nobody
things out
should
of
be
context
trolled.
and they'll be like, oh, you were saying that Mahila and Yuva are voting predominantly towards Mahagathbandhan. Look at what has happened.
Yes.
Mahagathbandhan has got under 100 seats and NDA has got 160 seats. So, everything falls flat. So directionally, I think everybody, whosoever is saying, even if it is a tighter context, directionally, people are saying that it might be a thin, slim majority for the NDA. And that's about it. And that could as well be an utterly false prediction. And it could be the other way around. But what we are seeing is there was no wave election. We all can understand that. There could be a silent wave tomorrow that women have come out overwhelmingly. And we will see something like Maharashtra. I again recount, Maharashtra has been one of the most outlier elections that we have seen in the recent times. It
Even
was a
Haryana.
very quiet election. In
Even
a
Haryana.
very short duration of time, it switched completely 180 degree. We have not seen this happen. We have not seen the kind of mandate that was given largely because of a singular scheme. There was no narrative. There was caste battle. There was somebody who was fasting unto death on caste lines. And still we saw this overwhelming majority which cut through all castes. So electorate is used to surprising us analysts. And we should keep that window of opportunity open for the electorate to
I
continue
agree
to
with you.
surprise
So,
us even
Amitabh
tomorrow.
Tiwari, where do you think the pollsters can go wrong tomorrow? Because it's a very difficult state to predict. And every time there has been a surge in voter turnout, it doesn't really mean change. There are multiple instances where the voter turnout has been aligned with government change, but there has been equal number of instances where the government change has not happened. In fact, it has meant continuity because the voter turnout means more enthusiasm. And particularly if you look at it, that is the trend which happened in 2005. We know about it, October 2005. And interestingly, if you look at various elections, 2010, again, Nitish Kumar returns with a bigger mandate and is also chosen as the leader that Bihar believes in.
No, essentially, if you look at the increase in turnout in Bihar, what we see is that the Nitish Kumar is the common denominator of sorts because he has benefited from this higher turnout, becoming chief minister again in 2010 with NDA, 2015 with Mahagathbandhan, and 2020 again with NDA. So technically, one can say that in 2015, with a higher turnout, the government changed because the composition of the government changed from BJP plus JDU to RJD plus JDU. And then again in 2020, the composition of the government changed from RJD plus JDU to JDU plus BJP. So what are the risk factors? The risk factors are primarily, I would say, are three risk factors. One is a risk of seamless vote transfer between the NDA alliance partners, primarily JDU and BJP, and JDU and LJP because of the historical differences on the Mahadalits and Dalit category creation. Then is the amount or the propensity of the women voters to vote on a caste neutral basis. So most of the surveys are giving a higher support for women amongst NDA. But if they vote along caste or religious lines, what is likely to happen is that alpha or that lead which the NDA has amongst women is likely to get reduced, and that could impact the results and the projections. And the third, of course, is the Suraaj factor or the Prashant Kishor factor, which is in most surveys is between 4 to 5% range. Even in our vote vibe survey is 5%. But if he polls anything more than that, then on very close seats, he could play the role of a kingmaker. So Suraaj party is like a rocket, is like a desi rocket. I mean, once you fire
Chances
it,
that because he's a new player, the assessment by most pollsters may not be correct.
What happens is that the awareness about the symbol is also not that great. I mean, Bihar is a highly rural area, and in our tracker in Vote Vibe, we saw that 48% of the people still didn't know what is the symbol of Jan Suraaj, despite all this social media campaign. So there are very nuances and layers within layers. And as Rajat has said is what that most of the election analysis is now a post-mortem analysis, which we will have to do, or which will set the tone once the final results of the numbers start coming out.
Okay, Rajat Sethi, this was largely a bipolar contest, as is becoming evident now, based on what the pollsters have said. So where do you think the assessment could go wrong?
So it was always a bipolar election. The only polls that were projecting it were some of the political stock exchange that your channel were putting up, which were putting us in a different direction, as if it's a triangular contest or even the hope of a triangular contest. Logics were built around that there is 20-25% vote which goes to the others category, and therefore it can be made into a triangular contest. It was never a triangular contest, just because of the complexity of the electorate. There were always these spillover votes which went beyond the two blocks. And the last time we saw two major parties which were out of the fold of the two principal alliances. This was why the number was big. We will see shrinking of the other space. I don't see miscalculation on Jan Swaraj resulting in any major issue. That is not the issue. The only issue that we need to be mindful of is how much of contested surveys of contested voters, of the voters who had actually voted, did we undercount or overcount? Typically what happens in an exit poll, while, for simplifying it for your viewers, if you survey a person, a voter, and record his preference, did that voter actually go out and vote or not? And doing an accurate assessment of that so that it represents the electorate, that is a very difficult exercise that you have to do only after the polling is over. In that process, you tend to undercount or overcount certain segments of voters, which can principally bring in certain errors. But any party, for that matter, does multiple rounds of votes, and every round of polling or every round of analysis that you do, or opinion poll, exit poll that you do, has to sync up with the previous study. If it is not syncing up, if there is an outlier, that has to be explained rationally. So I believe political parties who have the resources to do these series of surveys all throughout the election cycle have a far better idea. Therefore, if one thing beyond exit polls that you should look at is the body language of the incumbent and the body language of the principal challenger. I'll keep it open to the viewers. Look at how Tejasvi is speaking and addressing the press conferences. Do you see confidence or you don't see confidence? Versus that, look at the BJP leaders perhaps. You will yourself understand which way the wind is.
Not really, because I don't pay much of an attention of a reaction of a leader just ahead. I could also see this as caution because of what really happened in 2020. So I would not pay much of an attention to that kind of what is being declared as conceding.
Marya,
that's a little unfair.
For an organization, the kind of feedback that you get from your organizational workers on the ground is the best.
No, I agree. Organizationally,
there is no alternative to that. Let me tell you,
yes.
Don't underestimate the power of these political parties, the way, the network they have, the information they have. Individual candidates, if you speak to, they know exactly what has happened. They might not come out and acknowledge it, but they know it.
Yes, they do know it. I agree with you completely on that. A word from you, Sajjan. What do you think the pollsters may get wrong?
One of the mistake that could be whether the sample was representative of the demography or not. Because take, for example, Access My India. The maximum they are giving to the EBCs is 22%, while we do know that the Hindu OBCs, they constitute around 25 to 26%, right? So in their own sample, if it's coming to 22%, whether they are giving it as the total percentage of EBC to did the sample reflected the demographic percentage as is in the society? So many a times what happens that we extrapolate, like, for example, you have taken very few samples of EBCs and you know that it's 26%. So what do? You multiply and extrapolate so that it becomes reflective. And many times you fail to capture the diversity. This is one. Two, also, as we say that exit poll by definition means a person has voted, and when he or she is exiting, you are supposed to ask then only. It cannot be that you go somewhere. And so many a times ensuring, and Amitabhji would be more into the cognizance of this, ensuring the quality that it's really exit poll by definition is exit poll. It's not something like an opinion poll that you go and ask the same person who you interviewed before the election. So these sort of things give you when it's considered to be very close, these sort of errors do give you a percentage in a different way. And that is why I think how representative is the sample of the surveys, right? And percentages, that is something that needs to be assured. And therefore, I do believe that one needs to reconcile the exit poll with the ground feedback that one is getting. And therefore, many a times when you are conducting the survey, your group is conducting, and you also is roaming around on the ground, the point is to bring a balance between the qualitative and the quantitative, and that gives you some sort of instinctual hint that which way the wind will blow.
Okay. Yeah. Before I bring in the newsmakers, I'll give the final words to all of you so that, because all of you will be joining us tomorrow morning, so I don't want to hold on to this conversation for long. Rajat Sethi, starting with you, best case scenario, what's happening tomorrow morning?
As I'll repeat myself, it was largely a flat election, less emotional election. Some are calling it was a boring election. I think Preeti ji only called it it was largely a boring election. We didn't see any buildup of sentiments against or for the government. The results largely will be boring, very similar to what happened in 2020. It will be somewhere around 130, 135 in that, or maybe 140 it can touch in that realm, and will give you a quiet majority to the government and the quiet mandate to carry on.
But as I had written a month ago, Nitish Kumar's quiet edge, is it really that quiet? I'm not too sure, because interestingly, Rajat, what one senses on the ground is that Nitish Kumar's popularity is intact. He's an extremely liked politician of Bihar, despite being in power for 20 years, and Biharis are known to be status quo-ish.
So fatigue is not anger. Fatigue is boring.
There's no anger. There's no anger.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
fatigue is not equal to anger.
Yes. So fatigue, can fatigue be some kind of silent or quiet change also, Amitabh Tiwari? So you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Yes, please go ahead.
If the fatigue is turning into a vote for change, it is more likely on account of the anti-incumbency or discontent amongst the MLAs of the JDU or the BJP or the LJP, RLM, HUM, because there is significant discontent amongst the MLAs. Wherever the tickets have been denied, that seems to have been managed. Where the tickets have not been denied, we'll have to wait and see whether this Mahila Rozgar Yojana and this higher turnout of women essentially is able to neutralize that fact or not. Because as I've said earlier, the Dasha and Disha of this Chunav is going to be decided by the 61 seats or the performance of the Congress party in the 61 seats it is contesting. Anything below 50% strike rate for the Congress or is going to be bad news for the Mahagathbandhan. The Mahagathbandhan does not have the stamina, even if it wins, to cross 125, because it will just scrape through, and the bottom for the NDA is likely to be around 125 seats.
Okay. So Sajjan Kumar, the question really is Nitish Kumar doing better than the BJP? Is JDU strike rate going to be better than the BJP?
So that seems to be more plausible, because one of the feedback on the ground was that did people wanted to vote out Nitish? And the answer is no. That was not the dominant sentiment. If that is the case too, when we call an election close, remember, except 1995, 2010 and 2015 election, 140 plus and 145 is not considered a close mandate. It has been it is considered a comfortable mandate.
Yes,
close
because
mandate means it.
Yeah, if it's above 121, I mean, if you get 20 seats above that, it's a comfortable victory.
Exactly. So that is why the very semantics of calling anything around 140, because that has been the trend of Bihar since 1990, barring 1995, Lalu Prasad Yadav's second election, and 2010 and 2015 election. Otherwise, 140 is a comfortable in a very politically fragmented state wherein every caste has a leader who has some sort of attraction to transfer from A to B. 140 for an alliance should be considered after 20 years, right, as a comfortable mandate. And I think that the undercurrent was for incumbency, not for change.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Rajat Sethi, Sajjan Kumar, Amitabh Tiwari. We have KC Tyagi, senior JDU leader, joining us now. Mr. Tyagi, if JDU strike rate is better than the BJP, as most pollsters are suggesting, what does it really mean? Or would you say that the Janta of Bihar have settled the chief ministerial face?
नहीं, ये तो मैडम जब चुनाव की घोषणा हुई है इस बार विधानसभा की, तभी से तय है कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ नीतीश कुमार ही चुनाव के बाद एनडीए गठबंधन के नेता होंगे और वही मुख्यमंत्री होंगे। 2005 और 4 के चुनाव में अटल अडवाणी एरा के दौरान तब भी हमारी संख्या कम थी, लेकिन अटल जी ने भी उन्हीं को माना था। पिछली बार भी हमारी संख्या कम थी, लेकिन तो भी एनडीए के नेतृत्व ने ही उन्हीं को स्वीकार किया था। इसमें किसी तरह की कोई गुंजाइश नहीं है। जहां तक भिन्न भिन्न तरह के बयानों की बात है, तो जो लोकल लीडरशिप ऑफ बीजेपी, एलजेपी, हम और कुशवाहा जी की पार्टी के सब नेता हर मंच पर कहते थे कि हमें वोट दीजिए, अगर सरकार बनती है तो नीतीश कुमार जी मुख्यमंत्री बन गए। इसमें ना कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज है, ना कोई कंफ्यूजन है।
तो ये कैसे आप देखते हैं केसी त्यागी जी के ईबीसीज का कंसोलिडेशन फिर से नीतीश कुमार की तरफ दिख रहा है, डिस्पाइट ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट महागठबंधन हैड अनाउंस्ड अ डेप्यूटी चीफ मिनिस्टर इन मुकेश साहनी। ये एक्सेस माई इंडिया के अकॉर्डिंग जा रहा है और यही वोट वाइब्स ने भी डिक्लेयर किया है। तो क्या ये माना जाए कि इस बार फिर ईबीसी जो है, जिसका कंसोलिडेट किया है नीतीश कुमार ने 2006 में जब वो आए थे, उस वक्त से अभी तक, वो फिर से उनको ताज पहनाएंगे सरकार का और मुख्यमंत्री का?
देखिए, यह आज का नहीं है। हम सब लोग समाजवादी आंदोलन से आए हैं। हमारे नेता थे भारत रत्न स्वर्गीय कर्पूरी ठाकुर। उन्होंने जो एक्सट्रीम बैकवर्ड कम्युनिटीज हैं उनका 1978-9 में मुंगेरीलाल कमीशन की रिकमेंडेशन इंप्लीमेंट करके वो ये खाका तैयार किया था। यद्यपि इसी सवाल पर कोटा विद इन कोटा उनका इस्तीफा हुआ। उन सारे सवालों को जस का तस जो कर्पूरी ठाकुर छोड़ गए थे उसको नीतीश कुमार ने पूरा किया। जो जातिगत जनगणना बिहार में हुई है, जिसका जिक्र राहुल जी बहुत ज्यादा करते हैं, मंडल कमीशन के मुताबिक मैडम 52% पिछड़े हैं, जबकि बिहार की जनगणना ने बताया कि 64% पिछड़े हैं। और पिछड़ों में जो अति पिछड़े हैं वो और भी ज्यादा हैं। उसी के आधार पर वहां पे आरक्षण को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के निर्देश दे दिए गए हैं। यद्यपि सुप्रीम कोर्ट 50% से ज्यादा के आरक्षण को स्वीकृति नहीं देता है, लिहाजा बिहार की सरकार ने वहां से रिकमेंडेशन भेजी है कि इसको 9th शेड्यूल में डाला जाए और यह जुडिशियल रिव्यू का हिस्सा ना बने। लिहाजा ये सारे वर्ग इर्रेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ कास्ट, ये एक क्लास बन गई है। ये कास्ट नहीं बची है जो जस की तस नीतीश कुमार को वोट करती है हर बार। सही आपने कहा।
लेकिन केसी त्यागी जी, एक जो एस्पेक्ट है जो पोलस्टर्स बता रहे हैं, वो ये कह रहे हैं कि महिला शायद नीतीश कुमार जी के साथ बहुत स्ट्रांगली है, लेकिन जो युवा है वो महागठबंधन की तरफ है। जो अनएम्प्लॉयड यूथ है पर्टिकुलरली, वो तेजस्वी यादव पे विश्वास करते हैं, क्योंकि उनको लगता है जो उन्होंने अनाउंस किया था इलेक्शन के दौरान कि 2.5 करोड़ सरकारी नौकरी देंगे, शायद उनको उस पर ज्यादा विश्वास है। तो अगर युवा बदलाव चाहता है तो क्या नीतीश कुमार को युवा का सेंटिमेंट समझ में नहीं आ रहा?
देखिए, युवा नए सपने देखता है, युवा परिवर्तन की चाहता है। युवा विश्वव्यापी आप देख लीजिए, वो नए राष्ट्रों की तलाश में रहता है और उसको निराशा भी जल्दी होती है, क्योंकि अब साधन बहुत हो गए हैं उसके पास जानकारी हासिल करने के लिए। लिहाजा जो बेरोजगारी है, जो पॉवर्टी है, जो पलायन है, वो सर्वविदित है। उस पर हमको मना नहीं करना चाहते, इट इज देयर। लेकिन उसमें एक सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी ऐसा है जो वोट कर सकता है हम लोगों के धारणा से अलग। इवन देन जो महिलाएं चाहे किसी कास्ट रिलीजन की हो, उनका काफी वोट मिला है। और जिन वर्गों का आपने जिक्र किया है, युवा वर्ग का, उसके भी एक हिस्से ने हमको वोट देने का काम किया है। यद्यपि वर्ल्ड वाइड जो डिससेटिस्फैक्शन और डिसअपॉइंटमेंट सिस्टम से रहता है, उसका कुछ असर पड़ा हो तो मैं मना नहीं करता हूं।
Tyagi ji, thank you so much. We hope to see you tomorrow when the results come in. Let me bring in AD Singh, RJD MP, who's joining us now. Mr. Singh, how do you look at the exit polls? One would say it's a landslide that has been predicted by many for Nitish Kumar-led NDA. Only very few pollsters are saying that it could be a close contest. Are you disappointed?
They are doing their normal work of manipulations, like what I've heard and seen in social media. That at 3 o'clock in the morning, trucks are coming in Sasaram, Muzaffarpur, and other places at the centers where the EVMs have been kept. The lights are off. The cameras are not working. So I don't know what are they up to, but I still feel that the Gathbandhan has a people's mandate this time, and the minimum number of seats that we'll have will be 150, maybe more. RJD will cross 120. RJD, to the best of my knowledge, have fought 143. We will cross 120 so far as RJD is concerned. And one thing is very sure, that people want a change.
Since you're emphasizing that this is a vote for change, what will it really mean for your party if these numbers that the pollsters are predicting holds tomorrow? Mahagathbandhan has been out of power for 20 years, and it would mean that another 5 years of being out of power, your cadre would shift.
No, but what gives you the impression that we will not form the government? I basically disagree with your observation. We have the people's mandate. Even if the 10,000 rupees have gone to the ladies, women in Bihar, and if you see that the total number of women in Bihar will be more than 2 crores, so about 1.10 crores have got that 10,000, but I'm sure 60% of them must have voted, and the voting must have been split between us and the NDA group. The reason being that the level of unemployment is so much. I'm sure the son or daughter at their residence must have impressed upon their mother that this 10,000, which is some kind of a, let's say, bribe, should not affect your voting pattern, because I'm sure every mother in their household must be worried of the job of their daughter or a son.
All right.
And the largest number of Gen Z is about 18 to 30 years of girls and boys.
Chali AD Singh ji, we'll be seeing what exactly the results are tomorrow. I'm glad that you're also keeping your hope that it could be an election that would go Tejaswi's way. Thank you for joining us. Remember, in this election, there are two factors which are driving the polls. We have been saying that it is not the traditional MY, which is the Muslim and the Yadav, which has been the constituency driving the Mahagathbandhan to power. That happened 20 years ago, but a constituency which also played a role in for Nitish Kumar's successive victories. This is a new election where Mahila and Yuva are driving the elections. Together, they hold the real remote control of Bihar's politics. So who truly has the support of Bihar's youth? Pollsters suggest that the Mahagathbandhan holds an edge among young voters, followed closely by the NDA. As far as Suraaj's chief, Prashant Kishor, despite banking heavily on his personal appeal, his fan base in the category appears to be limited. Is Tejaswi Yadav the Yuva face Bihar has been waiting for? I'm asking this question straight to Pawan Verma, who joins us live. Pawan Verma is a senior Suraaj leader. Pawanji, none of the exit polls have any good news for Suraaj and Prashant Kishor. Do you see this as a disappointment? And could that change the direction of politics of your political party? Of course, there was a lot of buzz around PK, but if it doesn't really translate into the hope that you guys had, the numbers that he was talking about, but it actually is about these numbers that the pollsters are speaking about, what will it really mean to Prashant Kishor?
Marya, there are two things to it. If the exit polls are right, of course it's a disappointment. But exit polls, as you know and I know, can be less than accurate or very inaccurate. So as a political party, we are hoping that the actual results will vindicate our confidence in these elections. The second point, irrespective of whether we win or lose or how badly we do either of the two, I am happy for one thing, that we came with the right message, the right ideology, and the right effort. To put up a third alternative in Bihar within 3 years is, in my view, not only a Herculean effort,
Absolutely.
perhaps in many ways, in a state like Bihar, unprecedented.
Well, congratulations to you for
Also,
setting the narrative.
Much of our agenda will now enduringly and permanently alter the discourse in Bihar. The agenda of issues, jobs, education, health, outward migration, and corruption at every strata of society. So therefore, we feel that either way, we stand vindicated, but if we have done as badly as the exit polls say, it is certainly a disappointment because our expectations were higher.
Okay, do you see Prashant Kishor's decision of not contesting as perhaps a turning point when all the seriousness around his campaign perhaps started to decline? If the leader himself is not in the fray, because the popularity was of Prashant Kishor, not the political party, that is Jan Suraaj.
Marya, it's a question that if you win, success has many
Absolutely.
fathers. If you lose, failure has many orphans. Nitish ji never stood for elections. This question is not being raised with him. Perhaps in the case of Prashant, it's a valid question. But ultimately, I think the party took a decision that he can always fight an election and win. He was very much in the battle, on the ground with the people, and that his presence was more required for canvassing for the largest number of candidates any party had put. So perhaps you're right, it could have been one of the factors. The decision was taken as part of election strategy.
All right, Mr. Pawan Verma, thank you for joining us. We'll wait for the results tomorrow, which will become clear in the next 12 hours. So that's all from me on this edition of the NewsTrack. Do tune in for our special broadcast where the OG of election coverage, that is Rajdeep Sardesai, who will be leading this entire coverage of Bihar polls. So do tune in at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Today's market report and stock picks.
We got that.
Top performing mutual funds.
We got that.
IPOs.
We got that.
आप क्या आसमान से टपक पड़े?
Sky से HDFC Sky, all-in-one investment app.
Download today. HDFC Sky. Investment in securities market are subject to market risks.